I wish someone had told me, before I packed up my life, before I said goodbye to the home I loved. I thought moving into a nursing home would bring safety, peace, and community. Instead, I discovered 6 hard truths I never expected. And today, I'm going to share them with you. Because you deserve to know what it's really like. If you're considering a nursing home for yourself or a loved one, don't make the same mistakes I did. Welcome back to Savvy Seniors, where we talk real talk about aging, lifestyle, and the decisions that truly matter. If you find value in honest, experience-based advice, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this one. Hard truth number 1. You lose more independence than you think. When I first toured the nursing home, they told me I'd still have control over my day, that I could keep my routine, choose how I spent my time, and maintain my dignity. But the reality was very different. From the very first week, I realized the schedule wasn't mine. It was theirs. Everything runs on a tight facility-wide routine, and it has to, I guess, to keep things running smoothly for the staff. But that doesn't make it feel any better when you're the one living in it. Breakfast? Served at 7:30 a.m., whether you're hungry or not. Medications? Handed out at a fixed time, even if you're still asleep. Showers? Scheduled twice a week, at specific hours, not when you want or need one. Lights out? Encouraged early, because the night staff is limited. Even little things, like when you can get a snack, when you can go outside, or when you can have visitors, are tied to rules and routines. I remember one morning I just wanted to sleep in. Nothing big, just sleep a little later. But at 7 a.m., a knock on the door. Then the lights flipped on. "Time to get up for meds," someone called. It wasn't rude exactly, but it reminded me that I wasn't in charge of my day anymore. I wasn't free to say, "Not right now." I wasn't free to eat when I was actually hungry. I couldn't even choose when to take a walk without checking in first. You don't realize how much joy and comfort comes from everyday choices until those choices are taken from you. And the worst part? You start to feel like a burden for wanting things done your way. There's this subtle pressure to just go along with the routine, to not cause trouble, to be easy. And slowly, you begin to shrink parts of yourself to fit into their system. It's not that the people working there are bad. Most of them are kind. They're just stretched thin. But the system isn't built to prioritize your preferences. It's built for efficiency and control. What they don't tell you is this: independence isn't just about doing things on your own. It's about deciding how and when you do them. And once you're inside a nursing home, those decisions slip away, one by one. It felt like I was living in someone else's routine, not mine. Like being an adult suddenly treated like a child again. And for someone who's lived a full life, who's made their own choices for decades, that's a hard thing to swallow. Hard truth number 2, it can be deeply isolating. You'd think that being in a nursing home, surrounded by other people, staff members, and activity calendars, would mean there's always company, that you'd never feel alone. But the truth is, I've never felt lonelier. At first, I tried to be optimistic. I thought, hey, I'll make friends here. I'll have people to talk to, maybe even laugh with. But very quickly, I realized it wasn't going to be that simple. Many of the other residents were dealing with dementia or other cognitive challenges. Some couldn't hold a conversation or even recognize their own names. Others didn't speak much at all. There were a few people who could talk, sure, but everyone seemed tired, withdrawn, and stuck in their own world. You might sit at a table with 4 others, but no one says a word. You finish your meal in silence and then go back to your room. Even the social activities, like bingo or crafts or holiday events, felt hollow. Staff encouraged participation, but it was hard to engage when no one was really connecting. You're physically present, but emotionally distant. And family visits, they start strong. The first few weeks, you see them often. They bring flowers, favorite snacks, photos from home. But slowly, life pulls them back into their own routines. Work, kids, appointments. They mean well, but the visits become shorter and less frequent. Sometimes you find yourself watching the clock all day, hoping someone will come through that door. And when they don't, it's not just disappointing. It hurts. It reinforces the feeling that your world has gotten smaller, that you've been left behind. Even the staff, as kind as some of them are always rushing. They don't have time to sit and talk. You're a task on a checklist. Help with meds, assist to the bathroom, then on to the next room. You realize that while you're surrounded by people, no one really sees you anymore. There were days I went without hearing my own name spoken, days I didn't speak more than 5 words to another person. That kind of silence starts to weigh on you. It's not something anyone prepares you for. When people talk about nursing homes, they focus on safety, care, meals, medical support. But no one tells you about the emotional loneliness, the aching kind, the kind that comes from being disconnected from the world you once belonged to. Loneliness isn't just about being alone. It's about feeling unseen, forgotten, like you've become invisible. And that, more than anything, is what makes this one of the hardest truths to face. Hard truth number 3. It's more expensive than they tell you. When we first looked at the numbers, the monthly cost already made me pause. It wasn't cheap, but I thought, well, if it covers everything, meals, care, a room, it might be worth the peace of mind. But what they don't tell you, at least not up front, is how many extra costs start creeping in once you've moved in. Need help getting dressed in the morning? That's an added charge. Want someone to assist you to the bathroom a few extra times a day? That's another fee. Physical therapy? Billed separately. Need a higher level of nursing attention after a fall or illness? Get ready for a whole new tier of pricing. Even the basics, like laundry, hygiene supplies, or access to certain activities, can come with an unexpected price tag. It's death by 1,000 little add-ons. You might sign a contract thinking you're paying one flat rate, only to find a monthly bill that's several hundred, or even $1,000 higher than what you expected. I remember looking at my statement a few months in and thinking, how is this happening? I haven't even done anything special. But everything has a cost, whether it's marked clearly or buried in the fine print. And it doesn't stop. Once your care needs increase even a little, the charges go up fast. And you don't always have the option to say no. If you need help, you need help, and you're going to pay for it. I had savings going in. Not a fortune, but enough to feel safe. And it started disappearing faster than I imagined. It's scary watching your financial cushion vanish, month after month, knowing there's no real way to rebuild it at this stage in life. And if you're relying on family to help cover the gap, that adds another layer of stress and guilt. You don't want to be a burden. But what choice do you have? The truth is, nursing homes are not just care facilities. They're businesses. They're designed to run efficiently and profitably. And while some are more transparent than others, the financial strain is real for almost everyone who walks through those doors. And once you're in, it's incredibly hard to move somewhere else, because now you're not just weighing cost, you're weighing comfort, familiarity, and the sheer exhaustion of starting over. No one told me how expensive it would really be. No one told me how quickly my savings would shrink. And by the time I realized, I was already in too deep to turn back. Hard truth number 4. The quality of care really depends on the day. One of the biggest shocks for me was realizing how unpredictable the care could be. Some days, it felt like I was in good hands, surrounded by kind, attentive people who genuinely cared. Other days, I felt like I was just another name on a long list. There are staff members who go above and beyond. They remember your name. They speak to you with respect. They notice when something's off and take the time to ask. Those people are angels in scrubs, and they're the reason some residents manage to get through the day. But not everyone is like that. Some are clearly burned out, overworked, or simply disinterested. They're rushing from room to room, doing the bare minimum because they're stretched thin. And who can blame them? Staffing ratios in many nursing homes are terrible. One aide might be responsible for 10, 12, even 15 residents at once. That's not care, that's chaos. I remember one day I pressed my call button to get help to the bathroom. I waited, and waited, and waited. Over an hour went by. By the time someone came, it was too late. I'd already had an accident. It was humiliating. And the worst part? No one even apologized. They just handed me clean clothes and moved on. And I'm not alone. I've seen other residents call out in pain or confusion and be ignored for long stretches. Not because the staff are cruel, but because they simply don't have time. Turnover is another huge issue. The faces change constantly. Just when you start to build trust with a nurse or aide, they're gone. Maybe they quit. Maybe they transferred. Maybe they were let go. Whatever the reason, it means you're constantly having to explain your needs all over again to someone new. There's no consistency, no familiarity. And when you're older, vulnerable, and need help with basic things like eating, dressing, or bathing, familiarity matters. Trust matters. When that trust is broken, or just never given the chance to grow, it leaves you feeling anxious, uncertain, and sometimes even unsafe. What no one tells you is that the quality of care isn't just about the building or the equipment, it's about the people. And when those people are constantly changing, or too overwhelmed to be fully present, it affects everything. You never know what kind of day you're going to have. You never know if your needs will be met, or if you'll be waiting, ignored, or rushed through like you're on an assembly line. It's a gamble, and that's a hard way to live. Hard truth number 5. You're surrounded by loss. One thing I wasn't emotionally prepared for, and no one really talks about, is how often you experience loss in a nursing home. It's not like in the outside world where people come and go, but life keeps moving. In a nursing home, loss is constant, and it's close. You might eat lunch with someone every day for weeks. You learn a little about their story, their favorite meal, their kids' names, and then, suddenly, they're gone. No warning, no explanation. One day their chair is empty. The next, their name is off the door. Their belongings quietly packed up and removed. And that's it. No one talks about it much. The staff don't make announcements. There's no memorial, no chance to say goodbye. It's like the person just disappeared, and everyone is expected to move on. But you don't move on. You sit in the same dining room, looking at that empty spot. You remember their laugh, the way they'd hum between bites, the stories they told. And then you realize it could just as easily be you next. That kind of quiet grief builds up. It doesn't come in waves like traditional mourning. It comes in layers, slow and heavy. Layer after layer, week after week. At first, you feel sadness, then numbness. And eventually, you start to expect it. You stop getting too close to anyone because you know how quickly they could be gone. And when you do connect with someone, There's this quiet fear underneath it. How long will they be here? How long will I be here? It changes how you relate to people. It changes how you experience each day. You're constantly reminded of fragility, of mortality, of how little time we might really have. And while we all know, intellectually, that death is part of life, seeing it so often, so up close, without space to grieve, it wears on you. It shapes the atmosphere of the place in ways that are hard to explain. It's heavy, and it's lonely. I didn't expect to face that kind of emotional weight so often. I thought a nursing home would feel like a place of care, of community. But at times, it feels more like a waiting room for the end, and that's a hard truth to carry every day. Hard truth number 6. A nursing home isn't the right fit for everyone. Before I moved in, I thought this was just what people did when they got older and needed more help. It seemed like the natural next step, the safe step. But here's what I learned. Too late, unfortunately. A nursing home might be the right fit for some people, but it's not the right fit for everyone. And it definitely wasn't for me. There are people who thrive in that environment, folks who like structure, people who feel reassured by the daily routine, the nursing care, the fact that someone's always close by if something goes wrong. But if you're someone who values freedom, who still craves meaningful conversation, connection, privacy, it can feel like a cage. That was me. I still had opinions, routines, preferences. I liked having coffee on my own porch. I liked staying up late to read. I liked deciding what my day would look like. And in a nursing home, all of that just disappears. You're told where to eat, when to bathe, when to take your pills. You sleep in a room that doesn't feel like yours. You share walls with strangers. And even though there's care all around you, you can feel completely disconnected from who you are. What really breaks my heart is that I didn't realize there were other options. In-home care, for example. You can have a nurse or aide come to you, daily, weekly, however often you need. You can stay in your own home, surrounded by your own things, living on your own schedule. Or there's shared housing, renting a place with another senior or two, splitting costs, maybe even hiring shared help. Kind of like a senior roommate arrangement with a bit of support. Then there's moving in with family, if that's possible. Yes, it takes planning. Yes, it can come with challenges. But sometimes, with a little creativity, it works better than people think. No one ever laid these options out for me. No one encouraged me to explore them. The message was simple. You're getting older and need care. Time for a nursing home. And I believed that. I didn't ask enough questions. I didn't push for alternatives. I didn't even realize I could. Looking back now, I realize that nursing homes should be one of many options, not the default, not the only choice. Because if you choose the wrong setting, one that doesn't match your values, your personality, or your needs, it can drain the life right out of you. And that's exactly how I felt, like my spirit slowly dimmed with each passing day. So if you're standing at this crossroads now, please know, you have more options than you think. Ask the hard questions. Explore everything. Be honest with yourself about what you truly need. Not just physically, but emotionally, socially, mentally. You only get one life. You should be able to live it in a way that still feels like you. So, if you've made it this far, thank you for listening. This wasn't easy to share. These 6 hard truths, they're personal. They come from real experience, not just statistics or brochures. I don't share them to scare you. I share them because no one told me these things before I moved in. And if I had known, I would have made a different choice. That's really the heart of it. Because growing older shouldn't mean giving up your identity, your independence, your joy. Yes, some people find peace in nursing homes, and if that's you, that's okay. But for others, people like me, it can feel like losing everything that made life feel worth living. So if you, or someone you love, is thinking about this step, take a pause, ask the hard questions, look into home care, talk with your family, explore all the options, and most importantly, listen to your gut. You deserve to feel safe, yes, but also seen, heard, respected, alive. Because this stage of life isn't the end. It's still your life, and you still have the right to choose how you live it. If this resonated with you, or if you've had your own experience with a nursing home, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your story. And if you know someone facing this decision, send this their way. You might help them make a choice they won't regret. Thanks again for watching. Take care of yourself, truly.